Ladies and gentlemen, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Our guest today is a best-selling author, global speaker, success coach, business mentor, and the founder of G Corp Advisory. He has trained more than 10,000 executives across 10 countries and has closed more than $504 million of client deals. And today he's going to show you how to improve your product knowledge so you can double and triple your sales. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome to the Win Sales Now podcast, Jacob Galea.
Thanks, guys. Thank you. Great to be here.
Now, before we begin, please show me the watch. And I know you're wearing that to tease me because it's on my wish list.
Yeah. I'll just give you a quick glimpse. There you go, bye.
Hey, there we go. Lovely. Now, you've been a busy man over the years. You have a black belt in martial arts. You've represented Australia at the highest level. What are some of your sporting highlights and how have they got you from off the factory floor to where you're advising some of the most powerful CEOs and executives around the world?
Yeah, look, first of all, thanks for having me, guys, and it's great to here with you guys. I think for me, the biggest highlights of my martial arts career was winning against all odds, winning against, in tournaments against, I'm not the tallest guy in the world. I'm Maltese, so, I'm a bit short, but, competing against really tall guys and really big guys and winning against all odds where people can say, you're never going to beat that person. You never got a shot. And using mindset power and discipline and consistency to take down bigger opponents. For me, I love the David and Galea story because that's what I'm all about. It's like there's not a thing I can't achieve. And that I think for me, the most important thing is the power of discipline and never giving up. And what martial arts has really taught me, guys, about the power of absolutely never giving up.
I like what you say. We believe there's 4 Ds to success. The first one is desire. And you have to want this thing really bad. And I believe that you've got to be able to bleed for it. If you can bleed for that thing you want, then nothing will stop you. The second thing is you've got to make a decision. And I believe most people don't make decisions. They get stuck in the comfort zone. They've got the door open. They've got one foot in, one foot out. The determination, they don't see things through to the end, but they don't have the discipline to do what's hard. And Les Brown says, if you do what is easy, life will be hard. But if you do what is hard, then life will be easy.
Absolutely.
And there's a lot of discipline in success.
Yeah.
What was the discipline that you learned in martial arts and how does it apply to business? If you could break that down for our friends and followers.
I think if you look at business in general, to me, there's no difference between martial arts and business. Martial arts is a combative sport about, to never give up and keep going. And the discipline is around keep going no matter what, whether it's, you've got a broken rib or a broken nose or a broken toe or fingers that we always got, just keep going. Now, one of the things I mentor entrepreneurs and business people about is exactly that. Like some of these young entrepreneurs today are really soft. They get a little ding on their career or a little ding, or a little ding, scratch on them in business, and they're willing to give up and chuck it all away and go find something else. And Daniel, what martial arts really teaches you is no matter what, don't you dare give up and don't you dare get off that pathway to abundance because success is a long game and martial arts is a long game. And if you want to be successful, one of the key things to anyone listening to this amazing podcast that you guys deliver is this: if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got. So the thing is that you can't keep doing the same things and expect a different result. So martial arts teaches you got to be adaptive, you got to be agile, you got to be you got to be warrior, you got to be meditative, you got to be zen, and then you also have to have this amazing self-drive about you. That because why I love martial arts over, say, football, for example, is it's not a team sport. It's you versus you. If I lose, I lost. Not that someone didn't pass me the ball or I couldn't score. So it's a daily discipline of being a better version of you. So it's all about breaking barriers and it's all about pushing through. And business is exactly the same. There's days where you don't make money. There's days where people reject you. There's days where times are tough, but you just have to keep going and you cannot give up. And I think there's a massive lesson for people in business today to go back to basics on what it takes to be successful, and discipline and courage and being bold and having some wit about them. It needs to come back into play.
We talk about this in Taiwan, and in Taiwan at the moment, these men, particularly who are in their 40s, early 40s, they're called the strawberry generation, because for the past 40 years, they haven't gone without anything. They haven't seen a tough time. The parents have done the hard yards. The parents have given them the start, and they get touched just like a strawberry and they bruise.
Absolutely.
And the suicide rate is huge because they get their first obstacle and they eject. That's it. They're out. And they've gone soft. And I like what you're saying there is you can't go soft. Bad things are going to happen, but you've got to learn to deal with it.
And you know, Daniel, not only a bad thing's going to happen, but as a business person, whether you work for yourself or someone else, you almost have to expect it, because I've got a quote that I use that people reference a lot around me, which is the days that break you are the days that make you. So you got to think about how diamonds are built. Diamonds are built under pressure. So when I'm having a bad day, when something's not going my way, I don't whinge and cry and be that strawberry bruise that you talk about. I just look up and say to the universe, really? Is that all you've got? Is that as hard as you can hit? Because it's going to take a lot more than that to stop me and to stop my journey. So if you're going to hit me, you better hit me a lot harder. And that builds a really strong warrior ethos and DNA around me, that no matter what comes my way, and massive things have come my way in my life and still do, but I just look up and say, really, that's all you've got? And that's why I love the warrior sports and the combat sports that teach you, no matter, you know, if you're laying on the canvas and someone hits you, if you can look up, you can get up. And let me tell you, if you can look up and that guy's looking at you, you better get up and you better give him twice as hard as what he gave you. And business is exactly the same. You know, if the world hits me really hard today, or something happens like the GFC, or something happens like this, everyone's talking about the coronavirus. Don't be, as you say, Daniel, Bruce Strawberry. Just look up and say, really, what's the opportunity in the coronavirus to make money? What's the opportunity in the GFC to make money? I made more money in the GFC than any time in my business, because Sun Tzu wrote in his book, The Art of War, where in chaos and confusion lays opportunity. So for me, it's like, stop being a puppet like everybody else that's walking the streets and think, oh no, we have this issue. Embrace this issue and say, what is the lesson in this issue and how can it help me be a better person?
I love it.
Powerful.
It is.
It is powerful. Like, I feel like, yep. Don't be a strawberry. Yep.
You've got to be a warrior. It comes from a young age, talking about mindset. My daughter, her name's Dan Egier, and this name comes from the warrior princess who shot the suns out of the sky because it was too hot on this planet.
Yeah.
And she has that warrior mindset. And I look at her, so when she runs and plays and she falls down, I don't model collie her. I don't wrap her up in cotton wool. If she falls down, I'll ask her, what are you going to do?
Yeah, absolutely.
And she will get back up. And if she cries, I'll let her cry. But most of the time she doesn't. She looks at me for that response, like, what should I be doing? My response is, get up, keep moving forward, take another step.
Absolutely. Love it.
Good opportunity to retrain.
Yeah. So you also talk about know your product and having to know your product inside out. So where do executives fall short, and what damage is doing to their reputation and the income?
Yeah, look, you know, guys, the more and more I do sales coaching and mentoring around the world, the more I realize that people just don't know how to sell anymore. People are really good on devices. So, you know, whether it's their iPhones or their laptops, but when it comes to talking to people one-on-one and selling a product, they're only doing the top of the iceberg stuff. They're not going deep underneath and talking about the benefits and the unique selling proposition of, and they're only just skimming the surface. So what I've found, especially in the last 2 years, that there's no real good industry experts out there that really know their products inside out, upside down, round and round. And I've been able to stump all of them in boardrooms over and over again, actually with ease. So, for example, you know, I'm working with a company at the moment, and they've got some property sales reps selling some apartments in Brisbane off the plan, and they've got some people coming in. Now, it's a beautiful, beautiful product. It's high end, yeah. But when a consumer comes through and says to the sales rep, tell me about the apartment. They're pretty good, right? So they'll say 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, whatever. As soon as they say, where's a local hospital? Where's a local schools? Where's what bus stop number do I need? What's that? The person just falls over every time. So what I'm finding is that people today are just doing what they have to do to get by. They're not being, like, I call it a craftsman, like in the old days when a great Italian tailor made a suit, or an Italian guy made shoes, where every bit of stitching and every bit of detail was absolute king. That there's no more craftsmen out there today. There's just general, I call them transactional salespeople. And let me tell you guys, like, anyone watching this that thinks, oh yeah, but I'm not in sales, this is not irrelevant, this is not relevant for me. Let me say this to you. You yourself right now are a brand. Even if you're not selling a product, you are a product. And unless you get savvy on how to sell you in today's disruptive market, you will die. So the thing is, if you don't want to get left behind, it's not just about selling, Daniel's beautiful tie or Daniel's beautiful tie clip. You're selling yourself every day. And a lot of people don't even know when I was studying, Daniel, and I was in CEO groups in Sydney, and we did things like, tell me your 30-second elevator pitch. Even today, most people can't pitch me their business or their ideas in 30 seconds, and they stumble, let alone talking and pitching to a board for 2 hours. So I call this generation the lost generation. And I feel sorry for them because they've got all the tools, they've got all the technology, but they just don't have that craftsman mindset.
I just pulled out this card because it's so important.
There you go.
When you look at things like the tarot, this card here, number 8 of Pentacles, they've been talking about craftsmanship for thousands of years.
Yeah.
And what happens is, with the comfort zone, people don't want to leave the comfort zone. It's like the death postcode. Most people live and die within 25 miles of where they were born.
Absolutely.
But perfecting your craft, it is a journey. You have to perfect it. You have to perfect it at many different levels. You have to perfect it in many different markets and organizations. You got to perfect it with different customer styles and types and buyer attitudes.
Yep.
But a lot of people don't actually turn their career into a craft. And if you go back to martial arts, you just can't go out and fight. Majority of your time, 98% of your time is spent in training, preparation for your 60 seconds.
And Daniel, I don't understand that. Why do, if you look at the sporting arena, like you said, 80% of a team or an individual in sport, if you look at a soccer team, I did some work with the A-League team, the Wanderers, in their 12-week preseason. I got hired by Tony Popovich to be their mind coach and work with them. And if you have a look at them, right, so they train, if there's 7 days in a week, these guys train 6 days a week for one 90-minute game on the weekend. Okay, now I don't understand why business people that are going into business deals or going into boardrooms to perfect something, wouldn't you practice that pitch 6 times more than you play the game? Wouldn't you train in the boardroom 6 times more? Like, if I've got a pitch tomorrow, and I know that's a 90-minute pitch like a football game, why wouldn't I go and train for the 6 days beforehand? And sometimes these guys train 2-3 times a day just for that one game. Yet these people go, yeah, no worries. It's really simple. I'm just going to go out and pitch it and wing it and fluke it. And then they wonder why they're not successful. They wonder why they're not breaking through. They wonder why they're not making money, because they've got the transactional mindset, not the craftsman mindset.
The other thing we find as well is the comfort zone. To live in Australia, you can have everything that you want within the comfort zone, and you can get rewarded for poor performance, and you can make your 6 figures without even trying hard. But, this American mentality where people are still earning commissions, straight commissions, where people are working on bonuses, in these different environments, you have to perfect your craft, because you only get paid when you perform. And this comes back to sports. If you win, you get all the glory. But if you come second, you don't get paid. That's it. There's no glory. And the same in business. Unfortunately, in Australia, if you come first, if you come second, if you come third, if you come last, unfortunately, you still get paid. So you get rewarded for poor performance, and we keep encouraging poor performance or low performance.
I think, I travel the world for business, and I think there's a real problem in Australia. And I think that we are training our people to be lazy. And that's why I love the US so much, and I love going offshore, because it's a different mindset. Let's talk about the US. The US really has a hustler's DNA. You look at their success stories. You've got, let's look at a guy like 50 Cent, the rapper, who grew up on the streets of Harlem. And the guy was a pimp and a drug dealer, and his book, The 50th Law with Robert Greene, talks about he was at the lowest of lows, and now he's a successful producer of shows. He's sold a mineral water company for billions of dollars. He's an artist. He's a Hollywood celebrity. It's like they really understand what's called the hustler's mindset. And in Australia, people just don't. I don't know what it is about it. Maybe it's because we've got a small population of 26 million compared to 330 million in America. So a lot of us live on the coast, on the east coast of Australia. There's not much people living in the middle. Maybe it's because it's a lifestyle country and people go surfing and they want to go to the beaches and relax. But you still have to make money. You still have to pay your mortgage. You still have to feed your children. You still have to put them in school. You have to have some sort of warriors, hustlers mindset to get somewhere. And I think Australia will learn. I think they'll pick up. And part of my role is to go into organisations in Australia and around the world, and I challenge them and I play them against what they're doing to make them want to be better. And it's a massive market, and I think every company and every business person needs a wake up and a shake up call.
100%. So for those ones who need a real shake up right now and they want to make more money, and they know they've got to work a little bit harder, but they're prepared to do it. What are a couple of ideas that you could share with our friends and followers so that they could double or even triple their sales in the weeks and months ahead?
Yeah, for sure. Look, number one by far, guys, is get a coach or mentor. You cannot do this by yourself. If you look at someone that trains in the gym, say a bodybuilder, and they lift 10 reps doing bicep curls, it's the extra 5 reps that the partner who spots them that they can't get out, that they lift, that helps them grow that muscle, right? I have mentoring groups all around the world, and I coach people one-on-one in companies, but I still pay for my mentor. I still pay for weekly sessions with my mentor to hold me accountable to the plan. It's the most important thing. We can't do this by ourselves because we get complacent. We've got past conditioning. We've got thought processes. So you need an outside party. You need someone that holds you accountable, someone that cares about you enough to call your bullshit. When you say, hey, listen, I can't do that today because I've got that excuse and that excuse, you really need someone to wake up and shake up your conditioning and your habits and to break you out of conditions. For me, the second thing, guys, it's really, really important is you've got to get outside your comfort zone. Too many people are in their comfort zone. So they are going to work, they're doing their 9 to 5, they're finishing work, they're getting on a bus, they're going home, making dinner, going to the gym or whatever they do. They get up the next morning, they do it all again, yeah? So that's in your comfort zone. Now, nothing happens in your comfort zone. If you want results, if you want to live some sort of life and leave some sort of legacy to say, I walked this planet and I did something of substance, you have to get out of routine. You have to get out of a structure that doesn't serve you. Now, that's why if you look at the economy and look at people and where they're at, that's why a lot of people are struggling, is because they're trying to get something different by doing the same thing. And the last thing I'd say, guys, honestly, is readers are leaders. You have to read and educate yourself and learn. I mean, I catch 16 planes a month domestically. I catch a couple of international flights a quarter. I'm always reading. I've got new books, new content, new case studies, new white papers. I am constantly feeding and nourishing my subconscious mind with the most powerful of information, that is expansion, and expansion, what it's all about. So I think if your audience can do those first 3 things there, I think it would really help them get to some sort of next level.
I love it.
Brilliant.
Now, for our friends and followers who want to learn more about Jacob Galea, and make sure you go to the website straight away because it's absolutely phenomenal. Definitely one of the best branded coaches I've seen, not just in Australia, but probably globally right now, mate. I love it. The website is jacobgalea.com. Head over to Instagram as well. More than 70,000 followers over there, and this man will change your life. So, Jacob, thanks for joining us today, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you so much for having me, guys. We will. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
See you guys.
Thank you.